Fritzel.
Back in the office.
What happened?
It's been a few days.
You've so this is the first time Fitz has ever missed work for sickness, like a full day.
This is the first time ever.
You missed 2 full days.
2 full days off, yeah.
What happened?
What started as a muscle tear dumped all that broken muscle into my bloodstream, and through death by 1,000 cuts, I developed Rhabdo. The infamous
Rhabdomyolysis, so blood poisoning essentially, creatine kinase, and you're in a bad way, right?
Yeah, very bad.
And it's confirmed Rhabdo, like it's not...
No, confirmed Rhabdo. Blood tests and urine tests.
Is it worse than red velvet cake disorder, or...?
Much worse.
Much worse?
Much worse, yeah.
Jeez, you've been through the ringer, Fitz.
Through the ringer. It was this week last year I had red velvet cake disorder.
We're talking about scarlet fever. Yeah, so...
Scarlet Johansson fever.
Red velvet cake, Scarlett Johansson. And your staph, Lyme's disease.
Lyme's disease. Stabbed myself with a knife into my leg.
That's true, yeah, I got infected. So Rhabdo is basically kidneys. And there has to be some liver impact.
Yeah.
And Fitz, you've been out for 2 days, haven't seen you. Minimal contact, you just needed to...
Yeah.
So you went to
I didn't leave my bedroom for 2 days.
The GP said you should have gone to A&E or the emergency room, basically.
Yeah, 48 hours before I went to the GP. She's kind of used to it, to be fair.
Yeah.
She's had to deal with me forever. But yeah, it's terrible. I wouldn't advise it for anyone.
So what probably happened was you did the half marathon, and then you obviously had a lot of fatigue. You've been training a lot anyway.
Yeah, I actually think... remember 2 weeks ago my eyebrow started twitching?
Yeah.
So for the last 2 weeks my eyebrow had been like heavy twitching. Like spasming like this.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's really strange. But to be honest, I think that was just a sign of things to come.
And was there anybody else in the office warning you of other stuff, like large systemic fatigue, and said you should be just really careful with that kind of thing?
I think everybody in my life was. Which, aside from the possible fatal effects of Rhabdo, was the most annoying thing about this. If Rhabdo couldn't have killed me, the only thing I would have been more annoyed about is everyone being like, you have to rest sometime. You can't sleep 4 hours a night.
Are you going to listen now?
Yeah, I'm going to have to start sleeping.
So the half marathon obviously was a lot of training, but I mean, you've been running 10Ks and stuff, so it's not like you went from never running before and you're like, I'm going to run a marathon, you double the distance, but I wouldn't have said Rhabdo, because you walked some
No
of it.
way. No.
And you've been doing lots of running frequently, so very often people run marathons and have never run a full marathon distance in training.
Yeah.
So it's not that crazy, but it's just a very unfortunate series of events. I assume the marathon exacerbated whatever's going on with your quads. You've had type hip flexors for months, and you've done...
That's the other thing.
Too little, too late, I would say, on that regard.
Yeah. I also think a load of smashing my quads immediately before every training session probably isn't the best thing to do.
I don't think that's much of an issue. I think you had the issue. I mean, you've had back problems for
last 3 years.
But you've always said your hip flexors are tight.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Still as a teenager.
As soon as your knee goes behind your hip.
Yeah.
And I think probably just got a converging of the spheres here, and
yeah.
Is the swelling on your quad?
Yeah, it's still... My whole quad is still swollen, but the ping pong ball that turned into a tennis ball is kind of gone. So there's a hard mass here now.
Kidneys don't repair themselves, yeah?
My kidneys are extremely sore.
There is ways. I've seen Alex talking about actually.
Yeah.
Now, very often, Rhabdo case, I thought you're actually fine. But
Yeah.
like, if you didn't die in the moment, you're probably fine.
Probably grand.
So
drinking a massive amount of water, which is actually more of a hassle than you think it would be, because you have to piss. So for the last 3 days, I'd say I've pissed every 30 minutes.
No way.
Yeah. Which is mental, like 24 hours a day, every 30 minutes. Pissing like a racehorse.
Isn't it interesting when you think about overtraining, and overtraining syndrome is very real clinically. It's without a doubt a thing that's happened. It's happened to me, you know. But it's funny how you went from, like, you were on the direction probably. Like if you went like this for like a year, you could have got overtraining, but you just got Rhabdo instead. You know, you skipped. You
just went straight from,
like, instead of this, you just went like this. Okay, welcome to the training vlog. So I said I'd change up the training vlogs a little bit, just from the voiceover, just give you one of these and see how you guys enjoy it. I'm pretty happy to do both of them, and it's fun to do either, and a little more interesting to do. So I'm in the office. Dara's not in the office because Dara has Rhabdo, so I don't know if you've seen another video or if we've talked about it from when you see this, but he has rhabdomyolysis, and in fairness to Dara, I'll give him his dues. If Dara says he's not great, that means Dara's not great, because I've seen Dara coughing up phlegm and blood and stuff, and he's been like, Dara, I'm like, Dara, you're sick, and he's like, no, I'm fine. But if Dara says he's not great, that means things are not good. So medically he's okay, he's just being a bitch, but clinically he needs to rest for a few days. So I've been tipping away here, obviously working away, lots to do, and I've been watching Shogun as well. Now last week I was the longest break I've had from training in well over a long time. So I didn't train for about 5 days in a row. Some things happened, some personal things. One of the things, I got very sick. I had a vomiting bug and I lost a couple of kilos, and another pretty intense life event happened, and yeah, it wasn't a great week. And anyway, we're back training now, so Sunday and Tuesday, and back at it. If my son's okay and everything like that, if you're wondering, it's just yeah. Anyway, so back training. It obviously took a little bit of a toll, but some low hang snatches and some full snatches done. Lots of plyometrics yesterday, which I'm sorry I didn't video because it was actually a very good session. And I did some hill sprints. The weather was very nice, so I promised I'll do one of those next week, because I know some of you are wondering about the plyometrics. So I did some assisted jumps, some counter movement jumps, and some single leg jumps, and it was, I think, quite a useful session to see, but I'll get another one of those. So today we'll do some just full snatching from the floor, and we'll see how we're feeling, and we'll see what work up to it. So I'm going to leave the office, go home. Normally I collect and drop my boy from crash, but my wife is collecting him today, because she's finished work a little bit earlier. So I might do it if I'm home alone. I'll show you what I'm eating before training, and then we'll get to that. And we're also doing some squats, and then I have to go see my therapist later. So actually I might include that in the video to keep it pretty interesting and see if you guys like that. And Kevin is a wizard, so we might actually look a little bit of that stuff and see what's going on. So get some food in, get some training in, go to my neuromuscular therapist. Not a physio, he's not a physio. Sorry, he's like a colloquial term in Ireland. So let's go. It's 20 to 5, and we've got a lot of things to do, so no time to waste. So let's go and have a look at how the rest of the evening goes. And yeah, Dara's fine. He's okay. Okay, so I didn't get to do the pre-training meal because the squad were home before me. So it was walk time and dinner time. So all I had was, I had a ham sandwich and I had what else did I have? Oh, I had some clear beef protein, 27 grams. It's not bad, cola flavor. It's a bit, my tummy doesn't love it, so it's just new, something I've been trying recently, and I do like the macros of it and the composition, but it's not, as I'm yet undecided. I'm not sure if it's because of a vomiting bug last week, or if it's that it is just a bit too artificial. So it remains to be seen. Keep testing it. So I think I might have said that I was going to do full snatches. I meant to say I'm going to do no foot snatches, and then I'll do my heavier snatch session on Sunday. So I have 2 high carb days, Saturday and Sunday. And now, to be honest, my low carb days aren't exactly low carb. They're currently 250 at the moment. Very little fats during the week, and 220 grams of protein. So I mean, 250, you can do a lot with 250. It's just that I'm north of 100 kilos, so it's all kind of relative. But still, 250 is a lot of carbs to keep things happy, and I keep them all around training, before, after. Alex wants me to keep them doing during, but you'd like 75 grams of carbs intro workout, but I'll be honest, I would prefer just to eat 75 grams of carbs. So we're going to do some no foot snatches and work up to 90 to 100. So I've narrowed down the variation I'm using at the moment. So remember we were talking a couple of weeks ago when I started snatching that I was going to have to see what variation I needed right now and what I was going to narrow it down to. And it's currently at no foot snatch, primarily focused on the straighter extension and use my traps. And it lets me focus on my back position, which is a big focus at the moment. And then the low hang snatch, which is primarily that back position. So the above the knee hangs are gone because they were not good for me. And pause snatches would be nice, but I don't have room in the week for those. And I want to keep at least one full snatch session a week. And there's just not enough room for the pause snatches. And to be honest right now, I just do not enjoy the pause snatches. They just do not feel nice. So fuck them. And we'll do some squats. What have we? We've got about an hour to do it, and I'm pretty warm already, so should be okay. I'd prefer to get some cardio in, but again, as we talk about, you know, family and everything else comes first before training. So like technically we went for a walk for half an hour. It's not really zone 2 cardio, it's a little bit, but again, that's a better thing to do with my life than miss one day of zone 2. So I'll get that in, and then I need to do some hip flexor training. I've been voodoo flossing my hip flexor or hip extensor, depending on what way you're looking at it, and obviously the therapist has been rubbing it and doing all that his magic stuff to it. But as many of you know who's been watching, it's something that's been hanging around for probably over 2 and a bit years now, where on and off, and I've just never gotten after the source of the issue. And if you don't get after it, it's going to keep coming back because I keep weightlifting. And so this is the most diligent now. I'm trying to fix it, and it's probably the worst it's been, and that's obviously that's why it happened, because I didn't fucking do anything about it. But such is training life, and knowledge does not mean action. Okay, we're short on time, so I skipped the pulls. Did the no foot snatches up to 105, so we did 6 doubles first, and then the single. Felt pretty good. Could feel the hip flexor a little bit on the stand up, so it is still there a small bit. We're going to go straight to squats now. We've only got about 11 minutes before I need to get out of the shed, so let's get to it. Not too sure. I'll just play it by ear with the quad, and we'll see what goes on as we go up. Okay, 220 for a triple. So there has been a couple of sessions the last few weeks while I've been rehabbing that my quad has felt a lot better, but the sporadic nature of an injury like that is sometimes it gets pretty sore, and obviously even I get disheartened and I'm like, fuck! So you just gotta keep trucking and don't be a bitch. So doing the rehab. So today I was just warming up and squatting, and I'm just gonna be asked to put on shoes or a belt. Felt quite good. And I figured that some barefoot squatting might actually be good for it, because the high heel is dragging on that issue a little bit more. So 220 for a triple, no belt, no shoes. Sometimes you just gotta remind yourself that sometimes you're just classed at stuff. And you know, with all due modesty, pretty good at squatting, high bar specifically. So, you know, I'm allowed to say that. I can fucking say that. Don't fucking look at me like that, guys. Anyway, let's eat some fried rice. Moderately low-cal fried rice. Have a shower, and then get on the way.
Amanda began to laugh. The Sphinx studied Leah with his big black eyes. Rune looked...
Elbow at the minute, there's a restriction when we're going into extensions.
Yeah.
So what we're looking to do is look at all of the muscles that are involved in flexion of the elbow.
Right.
So whether it's brachioradialis, some of the forearm muscles, or it's brachialis, or it's biceps brachii, they're the things that we're looking at to train. If there is some sort of hypertonicity to try and reduce that, so there's less tension going into extension, and that's really it. We've managed to achieve extension a couple of times,
Yeah.
but so far it hasn't stayed, so it takes a wee bit of manual therapy.
But we did get full extension,
Yeah.
so there's not bones slow down, probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
So that was reassuring in that regard.
Yeah.
And what about the hip flexor, do you think? So that's been done on similar length of time.
Hip flexor, and most people when they talk about hip flexors, they typically think iliacus or psoas. We're looking at TFL, we're looking at anterior fibers of glute medius, we're looking at adductors, especially pectineus, but rectum as well. So basically anything that crosses the hip, and you don't even confine that to just muscles and tendon. You also look at maybe there could be skin, there could be scars, there could be any irritation within the superficial fascia. Basically anything anterior to the hip, any tissue needs to be looked at, and it's really release through manual therapy, contract relax type treatments, and improve proprioception as much as possible. That's really the goal.
Your treatments are pretty, I would say, on the spectrum of gentle to extreme, kind of towards the middle, maybe even a little bit more gentle. Maybe it's gotten more gentle over the years.
Probably. I think as a therapist, palpation skills improve.
Yes.
And there's less need to use deep pressure. I think at the start, when a therapist starts out, there is that learning curve where you're probably not 100% sure exactly what you're on, if you're being truthful. As your palpation skills improve, you have to use an awful lot less pressure to know where you are. And I think then it becomes mainly about the therapeutic outcome. It should always be about the therapeutic outcome, but everybody has to start somewhere. So what we typically do is we find, we go through a muscle, and we might find something that's a bit more dense, a bit less elastic than something else. And as soon as we press on that, we talk to the patient and find out, what is that? Do you know, is that tender to the patient? It might be nothing, but that could just be the adaptive response that those tissues have gone through because of what the person's doing. And we try that we can use ischemic compression to try and modulate the pain sensitivity or the threat sensitivity. But we can also use cross-type friction to increase blood flow and that type of thing as well. And then it's about using different manual techniques for me to try and get different responses from the tissues. Ultimately, try and match the goals of that patient.
Okay, session done with Kevin. So just pretty normal work on the hip flexor, IT band, quad, all that area, and the elbow. Very, very interesting progression on the elbow. So it is pretty slow going. However, I did ignore it for nearly a year and a half, so this is what happens. But after about 20 minutes, half an hour in the bicep, or in the forearm. So the forearm got a lot more sensitive and getting a bit deeper, hopefully into the muscle tissue. But the bicep, so brachioradialis, is very involved in obviously forearm pronation and elbow flexion, but obviously it's limited. It can affect upstream into the bicep. And after this session, the bicep, the section closest to the elbow, is rotating way more freely. So I can literally see the muscle moving more, like the range of motion it's moving through is more, and it's much more free. So very, very interesting. So we'll just have to keep going with that. So I hope you enjoyed that. Probably should have videoed the session and you could see what he did. But Kevin, as I say, I've seen lots of people over the years, and it's a near 2-hour round trip, but I still make it see Kevin. I have done for years, so that'll tell you. So obviously an endorsement for Kevin, not a sponsorship, but I heavily endorse him. So KP Therapy, he's in Tralee in Kerry for the Irish people, but he's fantastic. Great bedside manners too as well, very nice guy, and he gets results. It's slow and it's tough and it's hard, I suppose, from a customer's point of view. I always think about this. For me, I know the results are going to get there, you just have to keep showing up. But for people who aren't, I suppose, involved in this kind of area, maybe if you're not a coach and you don't appreciate how long things might take, it can be like after 2 or 3 sessions, if you're not seeing a major difference, you could be like, what the fuck, this is pointless, you know. Whereas I understand that this is the only way it's going to get fixed. So that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's vlog. A bit more of an actual vlog than just training. So you saw my fried rice, and which is delicious. I have almost perfected recreating a takeaway fried rice, and if you really want to see me make it, I'll make it someday for an special Cooking with Sika. But good session, pretty happy to know foot stuff, very happy with the overhead progression, so it's definitely getting better, which is great. And I do need to keep on top of this quad, and I would like the elbow extension back, but it can only go so fast, and I'm doing everything I can, so we just have to stay patient. And I know there's a lot of you dealing with the same problem, which I've seen lots of messages since I started talking about it a few months ago. But as I say, until I fixed it, I can't give you a good recommendation, although I am looking forward to giving you a good solution and showing you a bit of a roadmap, because it's a newfound respect for it. So good session today, and let's keep it rolling over with the GoPro. Hope you enjoyed that.